Hi, thanks for tuning in to Hometown Heroes on WFRE, brought to you by Overhead Doors of Frederick. And we have someone very special with us this morning, Lieutenant Bill Davis with Maryland Natural Resources Police.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing great today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. So you're a lieutenant. You're in charge of not only Frederick County, but Washington County. That's like a huge part of Maryland.
Yeah, it's a very busy part of Maryland, too, because, as you know, Frederick and Washington County are destination areas for people living in the metro areas of Baltimore and Washington and Northern Virginia. A lot of them will come out to the mountains
and play.
And these are the first mountains they get to in Frederick County. So.
Oh, and they're gorgeous mountains at that.
Awesome.
Love that.
Awesome.
So what exactly do you do? I know it's Maryland Natural Resources Police, so we're talking wildlife, we're talking water rescues.
Yeah, we do. We do the parks. Actually back in 2005, there was a merger. There used to be two police agencies in DNR, and there used to be the law enforcement park rangers, and there used to be Maryland Natural Resource Police, and they put them together. So now Natural Resource Police has taken over doing the parks as far as the law enforcement end of things, and we also do the boating along the Potomac River, all the impoundments, all the lakes and ponds and all that. We'll also do fishing, hunting, trying to think what else, forestry stuff.
Yeah.
We do a lot of different things that people probably don't even realize we do.
I see a lot of reels on my socials of people and bears being kind of sweet, especially little bears. If you see a little bear and you're out maybe hiking on a trail, I mean, what should you do? Because the first instinct, and especially for a mom, is, oh, I just want to hug that bear.
Yeah, you don't want to hug the bear. You definitely don't want to hug the bear because mama bear is around somewhere, and mama bear can get pretty upset, protective of their babies. So you definitely want to stay safe and don't hug or feed the bears. That's because we do have people that feed the bears, and that does cause problems for other neighbors and even themselves, where the bears lure them in, and then they become habituated to coming to the same place for the food, and then they start causing problems getting people's trash, and sometimes it might scratch an animal. You don't want bears around and sitting on your house and being on. We actually had a bear last week, not in Frederick County, but farther out west, that got into a house.
Inside?
Inside the house. The three cubs were outside, and the mama bear was inside. So.
Was the door open, or did the bears just kind of knock it down?
I think the bear let themselves in the house. So.
Oh, I could imagine that would be like extensive damage. So it wasn't like Goldilocks and the three bears. No. You know what I mean? Baby bears are outside.
The baby bears,
wow.
I guess they couldn't quite make it in. I don't know, if the bear tried any porridge in there, but definitely they probably made a big mess.
Wow. Okay. So. Then I guess I shouldn't be leaving food out for deer because, again, saw reels. It's very cute when the deer come up and you just want to feed them.
Yes.
You know.
But again, that helps. Causes them to habituate to an area, and there's plenty of food out there for the deer to eat.
Yeah.
They don't need to necessarily be fed. I know
not in your front yard.
I know it's nice to see them, but then they're going to keep coming back, and then you might have a problem. You might have a problem.
Yeah, you could. Well, you grew up in Montgomery County. You went to college first at Montgomery Community College, then University of Maryland.
Yes.
And you went to school for
natural resources management, plant wildlife option, and I wanted to be a wildlife manager, but ended up going in this direction due to the economic times when I got out of school. And my pathway started out doing maintenance for parks. Then I became a law enforcement park ranger shortly thereafter, and I did that for about 12 years. And then we got merged with Natural Resources Police, so there was one law enforcement agency in DNR, and I've enjoyed it I've always enjoyed it the whole way through. I started back in 1988 as a seasonal at state parks.
Oh, very nice. The craziest call that you have ever gone on?
Well, I'll think back. I'm going to go back a little ways before cell phones, but one that I can talk about is I was on patrol at Gunpowder Falls State Park. I worked over there for a little while, and I came up. There's like a dead end where there's an archery course, and there was this car with the door open, and the car was like up against this bumper. They had telephone poles for bumpers, and there was a cane leaning outside the door. So I go, this isn't right. So I went and I started yelling. I didn't hear anybody. So then I went on. There was like a maze of trails that went back by the marsh. So I'm going back in the marsh, and then I start hearing this voice. I'm like, okay. I hear this voice in the marsh, and then I go there, and I see it's just this face sticking out of the water like this.
No.
Everything else, this old guy is in the mud, in the water, sucked down in the water, and the tide is tidal, so the tide's coming in. So I went and grabbed a bunch of logs and threw them into the marsh and made a platform, and I was able to go out there. I tried to call on my radio, but back then the radios didn't really work.
Yeah.
So they didn't get out as far as they do now. And so I had to pull this guy up on these logs, and then I got him as much as I could. It took everything I could to pull him up and get him up out of the water. And then I had to run. I had to make a decision. I had to leave him and hope he stayed up on the logs. And I had to run and go get the radio at the truck to get help.
Wow.
So I ran out all the way back to the truck, called for help. Then I ran all the way back to where the guy was, and I just stayed there with him. And in the meantime, he's saying his 6-year-old granddaughter's farther out in the marsh. And so the fire, thank goodness, the fire department came, and I was just yelling for them, and they came and they came and helped me. And the one firefighter got there, and we were able to pull him up out of the mud. It was still extremely hard.
Yeah.
And then they just started searching for the granddaughter, and the granddaughter ended up being safe and sound at the family business, which was a tattoo parlor.
What a blessing!
Yes. And the family was so happy that saved their grandfather that they wanted to give me a tattoo with a cowboy hat and a lasso. So,
and did they?
No, I did not take them up on it, but
that's still nice.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you for saving that man's life. That's why you're a hero.
Yes.
People don't always think about that. Every single day you're putting your life on the line, and we certainly do appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that story, and also thank you for being our hometown hero, a hero in so many more ways than just this one. And you've been watching Hometown Heroes on WFRE, brought to you by Overhead Doors of Frederick.